Lentra and CNBC TV-18 Digital Lending Summit, Mumbai, India.
For this particular session, please join me in welcoming Mr. Sumant Rampal, who is the country head, Business Banking Group, Rural Banking Group, and Sustainable Livelihood Initiative, HDFC Bank, who will be sharing his views on navigating the evolving landscape on MSME and agri-lending. Mr. Sumant has been a corporate and wholesale banker throughout his 2-decade career with HDFC Bank. And under his leadership, HDFC Bank was acknowledged as the best SME bank by SIDBI, by Asia Money, and by Euro Money for multiple years. Joining him in the discussion is Mr. Kiran Moras, who is the Executive Vice President for Products at Lentra. Mr. Kiran is another industry veteran who has served as the Chief Information Officer at Highmark Credit Information Services, pioneering India's first microfinance credit bureau. So please welcome Mr. Sumant Rampal and Mr. Kiran Moras.
Thank you, Paulo. Thanks, Sumant, for taking your time to meet us here. I think the MSME and the agri are the most important sectors. And I think since morning, there have been a lot of been talked about in these sectors. How do we navigate, especially in the whole digital lending space? So I just want to ask you, how the landscape has changed, evolved last few years, especially, with the technological advancements and also consumer behavior. So how do you see the evolving happening?
So good afternoon, everybody. Thanks a lot for inviting me here for this event. On this question, Kiran, I think fundamentally in the last decade or so, the biggest change which has happened is that whether it's a micro unit or a medium-sized entity or a farmer, there's a lot of data which is flowing into banks. There's a lot of information which is flowing to institutions. And I think that has become the most powerful tool available in making sure that the end consumer gets the benefit of it. And I think thanks to the government, thanks to all the institutions, thanks to technology and the work done by banking industry, to kind of reach out to more and more consumers and making sure that cash flows come into an account. And the minute that happens, I think it's wow there for the consumer. And that's the fundamental change that has happened. With GST coming in, with the workflow on GST and, consumers looking at the benefits of that, it's helping banks like us to kind of grow, and that's the reason HDFC Bank today is the largest MSME bank in the country. We are putting all our efforts to kind of go out and build a very strong agri ecosystem and work with various partners and take the agri business also, because at the end of the day, we believe it's the micro and it's the agri. It's the small and the agri which is going to go out and take care of the future of the country in terms of employment, in terms of generating more and more opportunities. So data and information flow is what is helping all of us.
That's very interesting, actually. You started off, I think the CRB business started off in HDFC in 2021. Within a very short period of time, you have made a significant impact in the industry. We just wanted to know, that when you started off, what was your vision? And also how you navigated that kind of a growth in this segment as MSME and agri.
So, very honestly, as HDFC Bank was always present in various segments. If you go into the history, we were a large corporate bank, then the retail banking, and then we started looking at the commercial side of things. The whole idea of our managing director and Rahul was that we go out and create a unit which kind of encompasses all the elements of commercial banking into one place, all the elements of agri in one place, because at the end of the day, all of this has a very strong linkage. whether it's called an ecosystem, whether it's called a supply chain linkage, whether it is the cash flow management linkage. And what we realized is as soon as we brought all of them together into one controlling sphere, whether it's the business unit, whether it's the credit unit or the technology unit, we got the benefits of it. And clearly, as a bank, we are seeing a huge advantage of that. And we believe that right now we've not even touched the surface, and there is a huge opportunity still. Everybody talks about, and I'm sure in the earlier sessions, everybody talked about the big landscape available on the micro segment, where there are more than 6 crore plus micro enterprises in the country. And the banking industry has just been able to go out and touch not more than 1.5, 2 crores. So there is a 4 crore plus which is coming and made available. On the agricultural side, more than 12.5 crore farmer families, which are, taking care of all of us. Whatever food that we get on our tables and on our plate are all these 12.5 crore farmer families. And the financing which is reaching to the families are not more than 2.5, 3 crores. So the opportunity and the landscape which is available for the industry is just humongous. It's infinite in my view. And that's where we believe that the commercial and rural banking group collectively will be able to kind of build around and take things forward from there.
That's very interesting, Sumant. Actually, it has been like this for many years, right? So MSME and agri have been very segments which have been starved. And how do you see you navigate these challenges? So especially MSME, you have diverse segments, access to credit, evaluating credit decisions at various different businesses, all of that. Similarly, on the agri side, you have so many villages. How do you see this, or any strategy that you're thinking of, leveraging technology and all of that?
Strategy is very simple. Take care of what the customer needs. And if you keep the focus is on the customer and you drive your products and you drive your delivery on that, there is never a problem. Clearly, yes, there are challenges. Let me be very honest about that. It's not bed of roses there. It is a lot of hard work. You have to go out and reach out. You have to go out and talk. You have to go out and understand what the customer need is. And luckily now, with the advent of a lot of information which is flowing into bank accounts, advent of data flowing into the whole GST play, advent of data which is made available by the ecosystem, you are able to use those to give seamless credit. It's not that earlier or in the earlier parts of banking in history, money was not being given to farmer or the money was not being given to micro enterprise. We are all here because whatever the history has been. But I think right now, the pace of it, the ease of it, the convenience of it is what is making the difference. And the more a consumer brings about data upfront, and I always tell in our various programs to the customer reach that we do, we as a bank put a lot of effort in reaching out to customers. Our relationship managers, our branch managers, our banking partners, our business correspondents reach out to a lot of customers and let them know the more information is available in the bank account, the more they are transparent on their taxation, the more they are paying out GST, the better it would be for them to get faster credit, easier credit flow, and with that easier credit flow, it's the multiplier effect that comes to them. And over and above that, it's not about just credit that is talked about. I have this beautiful thought process that I always keep talking about is called as a thaali concept. You got to be making sure that your consumer gets everything from a roti, from a paratha, from a puri, from a biryani, from a rice to all the sabzis that you can give. And let him pick and choose in terms of what he wants. And that's the thought process that we go out and deliver and work around on.
That's very interesting, Sumant, that you said you make the consumer aware that more and more data he provides, better product that he gets. Now, the education, the credit education has been a significant issue, especially the MSME and the rural side. How do you tackle that, in terms of educating the customer?
Again, there is no set rule for it, Kiran, because these are things that you have to keep testing. There are individual programs which are run as small, programs at a village level or at a, development council level or at a municipal level, or we do these big loan melas. You know, in the last 6 months as a bank, we've reached out to the village level locations. We've reached out to tier 3, tier 4 locations and done loan and credit and banking facilitation programs where more than 5,000, 7,000, 10,000 consumers come. And there we really talk about what banking is. We talk about what credit is. We talk about how they can get easier, faster, beneficial banking facility, which has really done a lot of good to them and good to us. It's a win-win that we've created. You know, I was just there a few days back in a location called Sonpur in Bihar, where we did a Pashu Loan Mela, where we are reaching out to cattle buyers who are supplying cattle for milk to the local dairies. And all the consumers that we talked about, they were so thrilled that, you know, a bank is coming and talking to them, and we are able to kind of process things really quickly. So that's the way that we are trying to reach out.
That's actually very impressive. I think also maybe that these kind of melas brings also your staff, right? So I think they also get educated.
Absolutely.
Because one of the things that I see, how you kind of collaborate with the consumer to educate them, and your RMs and the BCs also, they get a good glimpse of what bank wants to do.
Absolutely.
With the customer. Just want to a little bit focus on the government schemes and RBI mandate on all of these things. How do you see that is helping these segments? You know?
Oh, in a very big way. And very honestly, one of the inflection points, apart from the GST and the cash flow coming into bank accounts, if you see COVID, and that's the time when we tested the portfolios. All the banks, all the financial institutions tested their portfolios. Thanks to the Government of India and the work that the banks did with the Government of India on the ECGLC scheme, which was a game changer in my view, because the mindset of the government, the mindset of the institutions, and the mindset of the consumer changed. The government went out and backed the micro enterprise, the small enterprise, and the businessman. The banks reached out digitally and physically to these consumers during that time through that guarantee scheme and supported the entire industry. And that's the reason today the MSME segment is doing and is flourishing, in spite of the pain that they went through in those 1.5 years. Similarly, there are beautiful schemes which are there from the Government of India. CGTMSE is a scheme for micro, small, medium enterprises. The CGFMU, which is, you know, basically going out and supporting the agri, ancillary, and the small enterprise. There is the AIF, which is the Agri Infrastructure Fund, which in my view is a huge value add, because end of the day, the biggest challenge that we all face is the poor farmer and the independent individual at the village is putting all his heart and soul in growing the crop. After harvest, the biggest challenge that he faces, he does not get the right price. Because at his village, at his location, there is no good infrastructure available for him to go out and put that crop there. So he is to sell it at whatever price. By the time that crop comes to our tables, there is an inflation of whatever, and there is a wastage of about 30 to 35%. So the government has done a fantastic job on some of those schemes, and we as a bank are really putting a lot of effort on through these programs to reach out to more and more consumers. AIF, we are one of the largest, processes of funding to the consumer. CGFMU, CGTMSE, these are great schemes, and I think they are fantastic.
Do you see, it is very nice to hear that there's so much push is there for the private sector, but do you see that kind of awareness and adoption is there? What could be done to improve both from the consumer side and also the facilitators?
It's only and only communication. I think all of us here, if you just keep talking to our consumers regularly, I think you will be able to reach out, and that's what we as banking community or financing community has to do. That if we really want to get India to the next level of growth and we want to call ourselves the developed nation, I firmly believe that we have to just keep communicating with our consumers, keep letting them know, whether it is through a physical route or through a digital route. And a consumer is a very smart man there. He knows what is beneficial to him, he knows how he can use the benefits of it, and he will flourish, or she will flourish. So that's the way it is.
Yeah, I think that's a good answer for that. We just wanted to understand, Sumant, if you look at the era of distribution, right? So you had branch-based distribution, people on the, foot on the soldiers, leveraging it. Now coming into this era where there is a significant opportunity that you could leverage both on the MSME and agriculture, what do you see that kind of a transformation that needs to happen to bring in that distribution?
See, that is the challenge I think we are all facing, and I'm sure in the earlier sessions and in the later sessions, that's an area that we will all talk about, that there is data, there is an institution, there is bank, there is consumer. How do you integrate this whole thing? Getting that integration is the challenge. Making sure that the APIs of one institution or one bank talk to the other is a challenge that we all have to collectively solve for. It is not going to be that one guy says, I'll be able to do it. It's not. And naturally, if you keep customer in mind, it starts from a customer's permission. It starts from customers should be told clearly that this is what we are going to be using your data for. And hooking up till the last stage of disbursement, and then post that the regular servicing. So I think that is where the whole integration process needs to be looked at. There are a lot of great analytical tools which are able to use the data and bring about outputs, but we have to just keep hammering, keep working like a woodpecker on a daily basis, keep knocking on the tree for a nice warm home there. We will be able to do it. So the API linkages and the connections is something that we have to just keep hammering on.
I think thanks for that. I think today there has been a lot of discussions around how banks can collaborate with fintechs. We just wanted to know your views about it, and also how do you see these kind of big challenges could be, conquered with this kind of collaboration?
So, everybody is talking about collaboration, and yes, of course, I totally agree that collaborations certainly are required. They are the need of the hour, and collaboration, why only fintechs? Collaborations with consumer, collaboration with the ecosystem in that sense. But again, it has to be like-minded. It has to be with a very simple thought process in terms of what the customer needs. There has to be a lot of work which the regulator has to help us out, because, the 2-3 regulatory entities which take care of fintechs or take care of NBFCs or take care of the corporate world have to kind of align from a documentation and process flow perspective. But it will take some time. It's not going to happen overnight. Let me be very honest. We've tried something on co-lending as a program. We are seeing some very initial successes, but it's going to take more time, because there is a lot of work which has to do when we marry two entities. And as you all know, marriage is not a easy thing to kind of manage. You have to work on it. So we have to work on all these collaborations like a typical husband-wife, and work and see the fruits of it at some stage.
Absolutely. I think the collaboration is the key. Picking on the thing that you mentioned about how we can collaborate, I see significant issues to conquer the agri world, especially there's so much disparity in, let's say DLTC or an MSP databases, district level decisions are made. How do you see, to scale and also to sustain, how do you see these kind of challenges are managed? And also I want to kind of you to reflect on the agri stack. Is it something that you see something?
See, on the agri side, let me tell you the 12.5 crore farmers that are there in the segment right now, which is only growing. If they have to grow, first of all, in our minds, we have to bring about that a farmer is making money, and he's not only doing rice, he's not only doing wheat, he's not only doing maize. Life of the farmer has moved up. And you have to look at the cash flows that the farmer is generating from the ancillary activity. And the ancillary activity is a great value adder. Whether it is a cattle, whether it is piggery, whether it is fish, whether it is poultry, whether it is beekeeping, there are a host of activities that a farmer does. If you really go out and travel into the villages, you travel onto the roads, you will actually see whether he's a small and marginal farmer or a large farmer. They are going out and doing a lot of these multiple activities. And you have to use that as a very strong play in making sure that you are using that from a credit standpoint perspective. Not many people know this, but today 23 or 24% of agri GDP comes from the dairy segment. People still believe a farmer is, wheat and rice and paddy and, maize, some of the typical agrarian kind of thought processes. But 23 or 24% is coming from dairy. So we have to really go out and see how we can go out and reach out to those sets of people, provide the cattle, provide financing around that, provide solutions around that. And it's not about a cattle, it's about a shed, it's about the food, it's about making sure that how he's able to move the milk from his collection center to the milk collection center to the cooperative society. So we believe that is where the agri stack and that is where the agri ecosystem will work. We are talking a lot to the regulator. We are working very, very closely with RBI, with ministry on using data, on using all of these inputs, which is land records, which is the DBT, which is going on. So if all of that data flow starts coming in, I think sky's the limit for all of us.
Thank you, Sumant. I think Lentra has been one of the beneficiaries of working with you on the dairy cattle loan, which got presented in GOP. We would like to continue in this journey as well. I see the time is kicking, but just want to have a small. What I notice is that your NPA and MSME is the lowest in the compared to the industry. While you manage such a massive growth, you managed to keep the NPA very low. Any inputs that you could give? Again,
it's all about how you manage the relationships, and our relationship managers, our credit folks, our branch banking teams. We don't go out and just provide funding. We go out and create a relationship with our customer. We believe that end of the day, it's not about the whole thaali concept, that the customer should be free to reach out to us and we should reach out to customers with value adds, whether it is about, getting a fast tag to his car or his vehicle, or providing a solution on the tax collection, or making sure that his entire collection and payment solution is digitized, or providing trade solutions. And I think once you do that, the hook is so strong that the customer only sees value add. And then the chances of non-performing assets becomes really, really remote. The more you communicate, the more you talk to your customers, you actually build relationships. And that's what my 25 years of banking knowledge has brought about.
Fantastic, Sumant. I think more awards to you. We heard already you got some 4 or 5 awards across India and globe as well.
Thank you.
So we look forward to working with you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sumant.
Thank you. Thank you.
Lentra and CNBC TV-18 Digital Lending Summit, Mumbai, India.